It's been a weird last few months for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Before this year's NBA season started, if you would have asked anyone who was the front runner to win MVP, his name would come up more times than not, saying that most of the Eastern Conference heavy hitters, outside of course, Jalen Brunson, are out this year with injury. Match that with the less than ideal supporting cast of former Pacers center Miles Turner, former Wizards forward Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis Jr., AJ Green, Kevin Porter Jr. I thought that Giannis Antetokounmpo this season would have his 2018 LeBron James season, where he'd carry the Bucks to a top 3 seed and would win MVP by a landslide. Of course, LeBron didn't win MVP that season, but still. But we fast forward to the end of December and the Bucks are 11-18. Giannis is out with a calf injury and he's all but requested a trade. There have been so many conflicting reports and stories about whether or not Giannis Antetokounmpo wants out of Milwaukee. Brian Windhorst reported that he requested a trade at the beginning of the season. That trade talks had began between the New York Knicks and the Milwaukee Bucks for Giannis Antetokounmpo, as he expressed that he wanted to become a New York Knick. But then we have the other side. Milwaukee Bucks coach Doc Rivers being adamant that Giannis Antetokounmpo never requested a trade, and he spoke to him personally, where Giannis said that it was all lies. So now we have a situation of an all-world NBA player, top 5 NBA player in general, being in the middle of a tug of war between the coaches, the front office, and media. And his recent calf strain injury isn't making it any easier for Giannis Antetokounmpo. So honestly, I can't tell you what the truth is, but if I've learned anything these last 2 years, you can't put anything past these front offices, you can't put anything past the media, and you can't put anything past the players because you don't know what their tipping point is. So with that being said, today's discussion will be on which NBA franchises Giannis Antetokounmpo could potentially be shipped off to, either during this season before the trade deadline or during the offseason. The first franchise obviously being the New York Knicks. Now, I believe that any trade with Giannis Antetokounmpo in it is going to be a blockbuster trade. But with that being said, the Knicks sort of have the best package for Giannis Antetokounmpo right now. And when I say that they have the best package, I honestly mean that they can get the best return on investment. Karl Anthony Towns is playing the best basketball of his career right now. But if you can trade him for the best power forward in the game, the best defender in the game, one of the best rim protectors in the league, and can still give you 35 and 16, 35 and 20, whatever on any given night, that takes the Knicks from an Eastern Conference contender, or the front runners to the Eastern Conference, to the front runners of the whole damn NBA. Of course, Cat isn't the only player that they're going to have to give up for this trade, but they have the assets. Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Jordan Clarkson, Mitchell Robinson, but I'm sure the Knicks wouldn't trade 2 centers for 1 power forward. That would just be stupid. But I honestly can see the New York Knicks offering Karl Anthony Towns alongside a couple of their high-end role players, which they have a lot. I didn't even mention Josh Hart. And getting Giannis Antetokounmpo in a New York Knicks jersey, which would pair him with one of the premier guards in the league in Jalen Brunson. But that's one of the easy ones. Everyone has been talking about Giannis to the Knicks, Giannis to the Knicks, Giannis to the Knicks. Let me tell you why Giannis Antetokounmpo was going to be a Los Angeles. No, I'm just playing. I'm joking. The second franchise I have here is the Toronto Raptors. Now, the Toronto Raptors started off the season pretty well, but now they've slowed down and now they're back in the middle of the pack like they've been this whole decade. But the thing about the Toronto Raptors and Giannis Antetokounmpo is that there's been a relationship there for a while now. There have been plenty of reports of respect between Giannis Antetokounmpo and Raptors GM Bobby Webster. Even as recent as last summer did we see reports of a mutual respect and a relationship between former Raptors president Musa Ujiri and Giannis Antetokounmpo. So even though I believe that, this is the more, unlikely of all of these teams to be able to land Giannis Antetokounmpo, I wouldn't put it past them. If the Bucks were interested in completely blowing it up and going straight into rebuild mode, the Raptors have assets that the Bucks might want. RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick. The only player on the Raptors right now that is untouchable is Scotty Barnes. And if they can pair those two up and add another star, the Raptors might be trouble in the East in these coming years. But with that being said, there are plenty of NBA franchises with enough assets that the Bucks might want to use if they decide to blow it up in their post-Giannis era. But there's one franchise that not enough people are talking about when it comes to having a chance at landing the two-time MVP. And that team is the OKC Thunder. It would be the biggest risk in franchise history, but listen, they have the assets. They have two of some of the best young players in the league. They have two of some of the best defenders in basketball as we sit here today. And the kicker of all of it is they have a pick swap with the Los Angeles Clippers that can very well turn into a top 5 pick in next year's NBA draft. A draft that will be full of talent: Darren Peterson, AJ Debonzia, Cameron Boozer, Caleb Wilson, among others. So this year's draft is great. Again, if the Milwaukee Bucks decide that they're blowing it up in the post-Giannis era, then acquiring one of the top young talents in the league alongside a potential top 5 or even top 3 pick in next year's NBA draft would be a masterful start to the rebuild. And like I said for the OKC Thunder, of course this is a franchise-altering risk, but I'd rather trade one of the young guys now, trade a Chet Holmgren now, trade a Jalen Williams now, than wait to lose them to the second apron, because one of these young men are going to have to go. Simple and as plain as that. But let me know how you guys feel about this whole Giannis Antetokounmpo Milwaukee Bucks situation. What team do you think he'll be traded for, if he even is traded by the end of the season? My name is Michael Clark. This is At The Buzzer. I'll see you guys later.